So our guest for today, okay, so let's welcome George Muna, one of our admins of HR Shouts. Hi, George. How are you?
Hey guys, hi Chris, hi Ken, hi Mommy Ann, good evening.
Yes, and with us, okay, is okay, an expert in starting a business because we're going to answer this question, how to really start a business. Okay, so I'm actually quite proud that she said yes to us. And I'd like you guys to welcome with me Miss Myrna Tam Natividad, or better known as Mommy N. Hi, Miss Myrna, Mommy N. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. Good evening po sa inyong lahat. Good evening, Miss Chris. Good evening, Coach George, Coach Ken, and sa lahat ng mga viewers natin. Good evening po.
So I can also see your page. Okay, I've been also reading your Facebook page. And so, Mommy N, what's the most common question that people ask of you nowadays?
What's the best business? Ano bang magandang negosyo? Ano bang patok na negosyo? Yan usually ang tinatanong nila.
Really? And actually, ako may, because my parents, okay, they've been encouraging us, okay, as siblings, they've been encouraging us actually to be entrepreneurial. Um, I know that a lot of people have their framework or their formula in starting a business, but later on, we will ask Mommy Ann, okay, her formula or her framework. Tanong natin si George. George, tayo kasi, 'di ba, HR professional. So, do you think it's good for us to start a business?
Oo naman, 100%. Kasi sabi nga nila, huwag mahiya ngayon mag-start ng business. It's imperative because of what's happening and also for you to be able to set up kung gusto mo backup plan mo or for that matter something that's going to serve you more long term. So yeah, very perfect time to start a business.
So, last Saturday, I was invited in Cebu, okay, but it's through Zoom, it's online, okay, didn't have to be there physically. And there's a group of psychologists, would be psychologists who will be graduating this 2021. Okay, and then they were asking me, ano daw ba ang gagawin? I'll ask Mommy N din kasi I'm sure she was asked this question. Ano ba daw ang gagawin kung ang parents hindi nakasuporta sa career o sa business plans ng isang anak? Sa, sa tingin mo, Mommy N, ano ang masasabi natin dun sa question na yun?
Medyo challenging 'yan ano. Actually yan ang mga problema ng most of my mentees who would come to me and say, especially if they come from families na employees, lalo na kung government employees. Kasi ang gusto ng mga government employees, ang mga anak nila sa gobyerno rin pumasok para merong security of tenure. Kaya medyo challenging yan dahil kahit na gustong magnegosyo ng bata, ang number one na humahadlang sa kanila are the people in the homes themselves. Yon. So ano ang pwede nating ipayo sa kanila? You just really have to show them, no? Show the parents yung long-term plan. I think tayo naman parents, I'm sure you'd agree with me, a lot of us are parents. The only thing lang naman na parang what we're worried about is that our kids might grow up and not be able to fend for themselves. And paano kung wala na tayo, di ba? So as long as the kids can show them a way kung papaano sila kikita and kung papaano a business would be better than employment, then that is, I think, that would satisfy the parents. Kaso pag puro lang tayo ay hindi, nagdadabog-dabog lang tayo, wala naman tayong pinapakitang path or way, di syempre walang mangyayari. Ganun talaga ang mga parents. Yan.
So when I was growing up, actually, my parents encouraged me to have good communication skills, persuasion skills. Kasi they would say that you have to convince us. So that's their number one rule. Okay, they don't really say no, or they don't really they're not in the way, okay, of my plans. It's just that if I need their support, I need to persuade them. So yun yung aking training ground for being a proponent of good communication skills. So how about George? When you were growing up, did your parents were they in the way of your plans?
Sa career, hindi eh. Well, yeah, medyo. Kasi, di ba, Chris, we graduated from the same college, in the same university. So, di ba, nung time natin when by the way, we took up filmmaking, film and audio visual communication sa CMC, sa UP. Siyempre, yung magulang, parang, ano mangyayari sa'yo pagtanda mo, di ba? Parang, ano ka lang ba? Jang-jang ka lang ba? Mag-shooting-shooting ka lang ba? So, again, that was the first reaction. Pero when they saw naman that, ako, myself, ay tama yung sabi ni Mami yan eh. Show them the plan, show them the direction. Nakikita naman nila na, okay, you can do good naman with what you're doing. And all throughout college, hanggang sa pagtapos ko naman, naging supportive na sila, third year, fourth year. And then, pag doon naman sa job, doon ako naman mismo kasi nag-choose na nung career ko eh. Hindi, I wanted to go to HR. I wanted to go to L&D and HR. No? So, supportive naman sila doon. Pero sa business, hindi, tama rin yung sabi ni traditional kasi yung mga magulang ko, mga nasa medical field. So, hindi talaga nila naisip na magnegosyo. Hindi talaga napunta sa conversation.
Kasi my parents were both working in government. My mom was working in central bank back then, and then my father was at the Department of Agriculture. It's actually opposite kasi because alam mo naman kahit mataas ang posisyon nyo sa gobyerno, maliit pa rin yung sweldo. So they always taught us siblings, okay, to always have plan A, plan B. Alam mo yung ganun. Parang if you can get a regular source of income, not necessarily employment, it's good. But you should also, lagi nilang sinasabi is, work smart. So parang get passive income. That's why they encourage us actually to have investments. Yung mga uso nun, if you can have, you can start with yung mga time deposit, then mutual funds, and then you can move on to buy yung mga real properties. So that yung parang, kumbaga, may passive income ka. So that's how they thought. That's actually the framework that they taught me. So that kasi alam nila that going into a business is a risk. And siyempre, the more lucrative the business is, the more lucrative the industry is, the higher the risk. So parang meron ka lang pang cushion. Kumbaga, I was taught, actually they thought, mahilig sa number 5 eh. They thought, you should have 5 sources of income, okay? And then, so that you can afford to lose some money, and then you can also afford to take some risk. Parang ganun yung kanilang framework sa akin. So palagi yan. Kasi my father was an economist. So alam mo naman mga ekonomista, ganun mag-isip. So si Ken. Hi, Ken.
Hello. Yun.
Oh, so ikaw, how
Mm.
so when you were younger and you were convincing your parents on a career path or entrepreneurial path, how were they to you?
Magkaiba eh. Magkaiba
Mhm.
ng path eh. Ang pangarap ko nung bata ako talaga maging astronaut. So wala akong connection sa business.
Actually, yung sa akin, dentista. Would you believe I actually, gusto kong maging dentista? I don't know why.
Oo. Pero in regards naman dun sa question na yun, my mom was more on the stability side. My dad was more focused on me upskilling. So kumbaga parang business din yung approach. Pero syempre coming from getting to connect with a lot of people din, parang lahat nagsasabi when you go into business, there's risk. Tsaka syempre maliban doon sa ikaw yung boss, syempre ikaw rin yung kailangan, you have to have a lot of hats. Lalo na if you're starting up. So connecting with a lot of people din sa startup, nakikita rin natin na hindi rin ganoon kadali, 'di ba? Na parang papasok ka na wala ka alam. Kaya ang ganda na ng panahon ngayon na there are lots of really good mentors that could easily, alam mo yun, dinaanan nila yung buong proseso. They have really good established businesses already na pag nagtanong ka, they could easily guide you para mas may direction yung ano mo, yung pagtahak mo sa mundo ng pagbi-business. Yeah.
You know, this environment, itong situation na to, this was the environment that I was dreaming of when I was in college. Because during college, I was dreaming of distance education. Kasi tamad ako na tao eh. Ayokong pumapasok. So, I was reading, I wasn't, hindi pa, wala pang mga walang internet, modem pa lang yung internet nung college ako eh. But yung mga research papers ko kasi I had electives in education. Ano nga eh, if you look at my transcript, parang hindi ako kumukuha nung yung mga traditional electives, but I was getting one for education and I would see that there were options pala for distance learning. And then alam mo, where I'm lucky that when I pumutok itong Zoom meetings and webinars, okay, I'm in my 40s and I could say that I'm in the prime of my health and in of my career. So I'm glad that I am able to be part of this period, okay, where webinars and Zoom meetings and distance education is actually the norm. So kaya yung sinasabi ni Ken na madami na kasing mentors kasi that's good. So at least we could get some practical advice kasi dati textbook advice lang. But going back to our guest, so Mommy Ann, so when we had our offline conversation when we met online, okay, so ang colorful ng beginnings mo, but a lot of people don't go into business natatakot and it's because maybe they don't want to lose money but they also really don't like to fail. So can you give us a background on how you started, okay, your business? Kasi you had 18 businesses, okay, and how did you start as a businesswoman?
Yeah, actually, I failed in more than 20 businesses. And only about five, six of them succeeded. So, ang dami kong mistakes, no? 40 years. Kung ang mga parents nyo ay pinipigilan kayong mag-business, baliktad naman sa amin. My parents were both teachers who went into business and failed and failed and failed and had to go back to teaching just to keep us to educate us para meron kaming scholarships. So kaya nung lumalaki ako, parang talagang napakanega ang tingin ko sa business. But then nung papuntang college na, sabi ng father ko, take up a business course. The reason why we failed was because we did not know. We did not know any better. So mag-business course ka. Ayoko kasi ang dream ko talaga is to be a teacher. It has always been to be a teacher. So kaya hindi naman nila ako pinigilan. Parents are supportive. Sige, pag yan ang gusto mo, kaya lang magsisisi ka, no? So 24 years old, I got married. I was already a teacher. At 25, I became a mom, so I was happily teaching. Okay ang buhay. Until my baby was born, nung naging 1 month old siya, naging jobless ang aking husband. My husband lost his job, and from then on, nakita ko, sige, okay lang, no? Ako lang, tatlo lang naman kami, nakikitira lang kami sa aking mga in-laws. But then, one day while I was counting yung aking sweldo, bigla kong napansin na, oops, palakas ang needs ng baby ko for milk. And yung sweldo ko ganun pa rin. So at a certain point, kukulangin to. Magugutom yung aking baby. What will I do? Yon. No? So biglang nawala yung takot ko sa business, nawala yung mga, because I'm an introvert, I'm a shy person. Basically, I don't talk a lot even to my co-teachers. I just smile most of the time. Nagsasalita lang ako sa classroom and then wala na. But then at that time, sabi ko, hindi pwede ito. Hindi ko naman kayang mag-tutor na dahil ubus na yung oras ko. And the only thing I can think of is dapat meron akong sideline. So, paano yon? Sabi ko, wala akong puhunan. I have nothing. I don't know anything. And ang naisip ko is, why don't I ask my co-teachers? So, I started asking my co-teachers, anong mga kailangan ninyo? Is there anything I can sell you? And they said, yeah, rice. Kasi ang hirap bumili ng rice. Sana you can sell a sacks of rice na iwan lang dyan sa gate ng Ateneo. I was teaching in Ateneo de Zamboanga din. Iwan lang sa gate para we can just pull it up the tricycle and bring it home. Kasi yung sa market area, bawal ang tricycle that time eh. So, yeah, so I started with rice, selling rice. I started selling, sabi nung iba, eggs. Tapos yung iba naman, ayaw namin ng rice saka eggs. Kailangan namin ng mga plancha o kaya hindi pa usong credit cards noon, no? So, plancha, mga rice cooker, oven toaster, small appliances. So, paano kung nabili yung lahat na yon? Actually, I did not have money, no? We were just living hand to mouth. Pero I thought of talking to my relatives, yung mga naging kaklase ko nung high school. They already were having their own businesses na. So I went and approached them one by one na, pwede bang pautangin ninyo ako? Can I buy on consignment? I'll just pay you when my customers pay. And gladly naman, they said yes. And dahil doon, nakita ko na, okay pala to. No? So I would count for each sack of rice that I sell, that will buy my baby 3 cans of milk. So I'll have to sell 10 sacks so that I'll have 30 cans for the whole month or for the whole period. Ganun na ako mag-isip noon at that time. And then one of my co-teachers, si Paul Bernardo, I'll never forget him. He told me, ayoko niyang mga binibenta mo dahil binata siya. Sabi niya, what I want is just a ring. I want a diamond ring. Bili mo ako ng diamond ring. So, sabi ko, diamond ring. Sige, naghanap na naman ako. Hinanap ko doon sa isang kaklase namin na nagtitinda din ng rings. And I was able to sell my first diamond ring to him. And since that time on, napansin ko, okay pala itong jewelry. People started buying jewelry from me dahil sabi ko, okay pala itong jewelry. I don't have to pull the sack of the rice. Tulad ng rice, kailangan ko pang problemahin kung paano i-deliver and all. No? But yung mga small appliances, pag nasira, problema ko pa yung repair. But then sa jewelry, madali, nilalagay ko lang sa wallet ko, I can already sell. And that was how I started selling jewelry, slowly. And eventually, nung nagkaroon na ako ng mga people who would help me sell jewelry, may mga agents. So I was already earning more than my salary. And at a certain point, I said, okay, I'll stop. I'll quit from teaching and focus on business. So that was how I got started in doing business. Yon.
So thank you for sharing your story, Mommy, and how you started. Kasi nga naman, if sometimes if you have like a compelling reason, such as your baby, to some people kasi it's another another form of reason, another origin, okay? But I think that would be a good motivation. Because I remember George mentioned we had filmmaking. That was our course. you know, when I started actually selling reports. even during high school, I was doing reports for my classmates. I would charge 1,000 pesos at that time for a term paper. Ikaw, George, anong racket mo nung college?
Alam mo, Chris, malamang bumili ako dun sa isa mong ahente. Kasi naalala ko may binili ako report nun eh. Dun sa ahente. Sige,
Hindi
ahente
kasi
mo yun.
basta well actually that's how I operated before. Meron akong ahente tatlo sa College of Masscom. And then they would not reveal the person who is writing the report. So that's how I started. Kasi nga mahal yung course natin eh.
Hindi ko nalalaman malamang ito nga yun.
Ha? Kasi matagal ko ng racket yan actually, kahit nung high school. Ikaw, Ken, anong racket mo nun?
Well, sa akin kasi more on skill-based ako nun eh. I was playing Counter-Strike profession.
I see.
So, naglalaro ako sa mga computer shops and then binabakasan ako ng mga tao. Pag nanalo, kumikita ako dun. So, ganun yung ginagawa.
Kasi ano yan eh, may someone close to me actually. Hindi ko sasabihin kung brother or cousin or whatever, but that's what they do. They would actually play doon sa account, okay? Yun yung mga racket noon. Kasi nga kasi may certain budget kami for allowance, okay? But if we wanted yung pang-forma or anything that was special, we would have to find the means to pay for it. Yun ang rule noon sa household. Kasi ayaw ng parents ko na umaasa palagi sa kanila. Hindi raw yun, it does not build character daw. O, diba? Okay. So anyway, we'll greet our viewers also. There are some, okay, they're saying hi, okay, or I can see them, I can view them. They've been liking the video on our page. So it's good that despite your busy schedule, you're also able to view us live. So just post your questions. So baka curious sila kasi there's Benj, okay, one of the moderators of HR Show. So he's probably scouting or exploring also. Hi, Benj. So guys, do you have questions for Mommy Ann? Si George, may question ka ba kay Mommy Ann?
Ako, talagang although ay narinig ko na yung kwento niya, pero Mami Ann, alam mo, you said nga kasi, di ba, you started selling, di ba? Small items, tapos naging consistent na with your how did you, alam mo, hindi ko pa siguro natanong siguro or perhaps nung sinabi mo sa amin before, baka hindi ko lang masyadong napakinggan. But I'm really curious, how were you able to branch out? As in branches eh. Kasi okay lang if you had agents eh. That's normal, right? But when you say branches, ang galing eh. Parang, di ba? Parang, ako kasi, right now, I do business consulting pero pang enterprise. Na, yung pag-branch out, alam ko, coming from, siguro, experience ng mga kausap ko, pero yung sa'yo mismo talaga, coming from your business, what was I'm sure it started with one branch, pero how did it come to be that it expanded, knowing that you have so much? So yun yung question na gusto kong maano.
Knowing that you have so much, parang yun yung hindi ko masyadong na-get. Actually, ganito. We started, yung continuation nun, we had agents. But then we were doing good. Tapos yung 2 sa 10 naming agent na swindle. So nung na-swindle sila, ubos lahat, wipe out everything. So that was when my husband decided, sabi niya, let's put up a store. Huwag na tayong magpa-agent kasi we need cash. Lahat dapat cash or layaway. So I talked, tama, one of my good friends, relative then, was putting up a department store. Humingi ako ng isang estante sa kanya. Ganito lang, siguro mga 1 meter na estante.
Mm-hmm.
No? Sabi ko, pahingin naman ng isang estante dyan, I'll just pay you rent. That was how we started our first store. Mm-hmm. Ang problema, it became a blessing that Zamboanga was not a safe place then. So, because Zamboanga was not a safe place and I am fair-skinned, My husband was very paranoid siya. Huwag kang magbabantay diyan sa tindahan na 'yan dahil makikita na ikaw kaagad ang may-ari, no? Baka kung makidnap ka pa, rampant ang kidnapping that time. Eh, wala naman tayong pantubos, sabi niya. Utang lang lahat 'yun eh. So, okay, because of that, ang ginawa ko, tinuro ko yung mga skills ko sa isa sa aking mga employees. Her name is Gina. She's still with us now. No, so I taught Gina how to sell. I taught Gina how to lahat ng mga kaalaman ko sa jewelry tinuro ko kay Gina, and then I taught Gina how to train. So nagbukas yung aming first store with employees. I never, not even for one day, went to the store and sat there kasi nga scary. So from there, since it was easy to duplicate myself, after 2 months, there was an offer from another friend who is opening up also another department store for us to put an estante. So that was how we started branching out. Yon. No? So yun yung siguro mga first 3 branches. It was not very difficult kasi nandoon na eh. And then I started to, because I was a math teacher, medyo systematic, left-brained ako ng konti. So I've made systems na kung paano hindi kami mananakawan, how to check the inventory. Mano-mano pa dati noon, index cards pa ang ginagamit. So there was check and balance, and so ayos na ayos lahat na yon. The problem was, ito yung number one na I'd like yung mga viewers natin to watch out. Napaka-importante pala ng accounting. Dahil hindi ako business course graduate, I just took it for granted. Sabi ko, I'm handling the cash, I'm handling the jewelry, I know na hindi ako ninanakawan, so what? So okay na, no? That was what I thought. But what I did not know was that because lahat ng aming capital ay inutang namin, we were paying a lot of interest. So, interest expense ate up our earnings. Yung inventory namin napakadami, ang nabebenta namin kokonti lang, tapos we would buy more and more and more and more. Doon kami nalulugi. And because of that, hindi namin alam na accounting ang problema namin. So, sabi namin, maybe ang business ang mali, no? Ito yung number one din na one of the most common mistakes. When the business is not working, we think that something is wrong with the business. Instead of solving the problem there, we look for another business thinking that it will be a better. Sasabihin nila, ay, franchise is good. O sige, franchise tayo. So we put up our STI. Okay, as STI. Dahil we became franchises ng STI dahil walang inventory, hindi kailangan bumili ng maraming alahas, no? So, okay yon. Ang problema naman doon, yung estudyante naman. Pag hindi pumasok yung estudyante ng June, patay ka na for the whole year. You wait for another year to bring students in. So that means you continue paying rent and all the expenses of the teachers, you have to, tuloy-tuloy, teaching and non-teaching staff. So, ay, hindi pala okay ang school. Yun na naman ang inisip namin. Hindi pala okay kasi ang problema naman namin doon, marketing. Hanap tayo ng iba. No? So, that was how we went from one business to another. Kaya umabot kami ng more than 20 businesses na failed. Because we were thinking that, something is wrong with this business. Siguro ito na, siguro ito na. Until eventually we also got siguro ito Chowking dahil food. So, Chowking, we got Chowking. Naku, doon kami nadali dahil tamang-tama Asian financial crisis 1997. That was the old Chowking. Not yet hindi pa nabebenta sa Jollibee noon. Talagang nadali na kami doon. We could not get out of the contract dahil yung renta is 10 years contract doon sa building na yon. We were supposed to be breaking even at 50,000 sales per day. We were only hitting 25. So just imagine that. And it was 100% funded by utang. Puro utang lang yon, no? Kasi nga sa kautang-utang namin, ang dami naming negosyong nabuksan. Kala ng tao, ang dami na ang yaman-yaman namin dahil marami kaming business. Hindi nila alam, puro butas pala yung mga business na yon. Because we were trying to look for the ideal business. And what was nice was sa mga franchisors namin, we learned a lot as well. No? So yon ang sa tanong mo Coach George, no? Paano namin nagawa yung branching? Yung 3 branches medyo madali yon. Pero yung magba-branch ka sa iba-ibang city, malayo, no? Tapos marami na, medyo mahirap. But what we learned was how did STI do it? How did Chowking do it? yung kanilang organizational structure. That was where I got the idea. And that was why eventually when parang nung natauhan na ako, no, it was only siguro mga 10 years ago, that parang, oh my God, I've been doing things wrong. So we started closing down more businesses. So now the Chowking, 2016 we already gave it up. No, it was
Mm.
making money, but we did not see the what we saw was that if we will have efforts for this business, limang negosyo yung pinatatakbo namin, iba-ibang efforts yun eh. Sa HR,
Mm.
di ba? Iba-ibang training program yun.
Mm.
No? Iba-ibang, sa training program pa lang patay ka na, tapos sa processes pa. So parang, okay, why am I only have 24 hours a day and I have to sleep. So how can I handle all of this? I told my kids, hey, would you want to handle Chowking? They said, no, I don't like that business because they've been working in that Chowking since they were kids. Gumagawa ng siomai, naghuhugas ng
Mm.
pinggan. So parang, no more. Ayaw na namin. So sige, give up. We gave up our Chowking and then eventually, dahil sa pandemic then this time, we had to give up our STI dahil it was not feasible anymore. So, kaya at that time, dahan-dahan, nakita namin na focus pala. Hindi pala pwedeng ADHD ang tingin sa business. Dapat focus on one business, solve all the problems, and multiply it. And it's easier to multiply one business to many branches kaysa yung 10 negosyo na iba-iba. So parang that's why whenever I see people going from one business to another, I really would want to say, hey, focus on one. May problema yan pero may solusyon yan. Pag nagamay mo yan, tapos copy-paste, copy-paste, copy-paste na lang yan lahat. And it's easier pa to hire good people once you have a bigger organization because you can now afford better people. Unlike when you were starting out. Tulad namin, lahat kami, tulad nga ng sinabi nyo, lahat ikaw. But now, no, you don't have to do things yourself because you can now afford better people. But you need to establish muna yung copy-paste na branches. So I hope I answered your question, Coach George.
Actually,
Thank you.
thank you, Mami. And sobrang galing ng focus. I couldn't stress the importance of focusing on just one thing. Dahil yun na nga, number one, it's more efficient. Number two, you can replicate that formula. Kaya nga marami yung nagtatanong sa akin eh. Lagi ko ina-advise yan. Kaya may mga kausap ako. May nakita na silang success sa isang bagay. Focus ka na lang dyan. Ka na lumayo pa. Kasi pag lumayo ka pa, you're putting so much energy in
Right.
trying to do all the stuff, but actually you're getting nowhere. No, but if you focus on one thing, yung sabi mo nga, getting that formula right and replicating it, yun na yun eh. Diba?
Yeah.
Tapos hire the best people. Galing.
Yes. Yung yung old adage nga sinasabi natin, if you're good at knitting, just stick to knitting. Alam mo yun? I mean, it's stick where you're good at kasi it's something that, and also something that you love to do, no? Hindi lang yung basta kasi uso siya. Mommy and we discussed this, but we've been seeing a lot of franchise offerings, okay, on Facebook. Okay, what can you say about those offerings? Yung mga milk tea, yung mga ano. So are those lucrative businesses or what? Is it worth putting in your investment?
Oh, well, I would not invest. Kung ako, I would not invest in those businesses where I am now, no? So is it lucrative? It could be lucrative for some. For a while. Kasi ito yung mga tinatawag nating yung mga fad businesses eh. Remember, a long time ago, hindi ka pa I don't know if you were born na noon, na naging uso yung hot pandesal. It's the same thing eh. Umiikot-ikot lang. Naging uso. So, yung naunang nag-hot pandesal, kumita. O dahil somebody invented a machine na paggawa ng hot pandesal. So, the early adopters made money. Tapos, after a while, every other corner meron ng hot pandesal. So, nung nagkaroon na ng hot pandesal every other corner, bagsakan na sila ng presyo because they have to sell eh. They have to sell what they can produce. And eventually, some of these hot pandesal died. Only a few of them left, siguro, are still left standing hanggang ngayon. So, Ganun din, hot pandesal, tapos ang nangyari is yung lechon manok. I don't know if aware na kayo na, lechon manok. Tapos a few years ago, we have this, the siomais also, the
Yeah,
siomai.
siomai.
Yeah, and then the water refilling station. So lahat, so yung mga nauna lucrative, they made money, but then ngayon, ang daming mentees na lumalapit sa akin na, Mami N, paano yung aking water refilling station dahil bagsakan na sila ng presyo? Dahil lahat ng tao gusto nang mag-water refilling station eh. So now milk tea is so convenient because of the powder. They have converted it to powder now. No? So yung mga nauna sa kanilang barangay, yes, but how long will they be the only ones in their barangay? So yon, no? So yun yung yun yung fad businesses. I would look at whenever I would evaluate a business, I would see na kaya ko ba tong i-branch out to 100 branches in the next, say, 10, 20 years. Kasi if it's not something that I would branch out into 100 branches or all over the, kahit na Mindanao na lang or all over the Metro Manila, then that's not something I would go into. Lalo na pag madaling pasukan, as long as you have money, you can go into it. That is not a business for me. Because yung one thing I teach my mentees is, what is your business calling? No? So yung business calling are a combination of 4 things eh. Dapat yung nabanggit mo na yung knitting, no? Kung talagang dapat you love it, you're good at it, tapos people need it and people are willing to pay for it. So 4 na bagay 'yan, no? And it has to be long term. It has to be sustainable. So that's how I would evaluate business opportunities. Ang daming business opportunities, lalo na ngayon, yung mga e-commerce na yan, magbebenta sila ng ganito. Tulad lang ng face mask, di ba?
Yes.
Ang mahal-mahal, tapos bagsakan na below cost na. Ganun din ang mga fad businesses. Now, about franchise naman, franchise is a good model. No? I would say that franchise, if you do not know anything about business, get a franchise. But the caveat there is get a real, reputable franchise. Like for me, Chowking is a very good franchisor. No? Kung meron akong anak na walang kaalam-alam sa negosyo, ipapasok ko siya. No? I would advise parents, no, if you want your kids to learn about business, even if you have businesses yourselves, let your kids apply as management trainee. Tulad ng psychology graduate na nabanggit mo kanina. The best path for that person, for that girl or boy, is to apply as a management trainee for a fast food, a reputable fast food with intact na training program. Dahil ang isang management trainee, may expose siya sa lahat, sa accounting, sa marketing, sa productions, operations, lahat ng bagay. Imagine, nagtatrabaho ka, sinisweldohan ka, nagkakamali ka, pati yung pagkakamali mo, bayad pa. And you get the best training. Now, after you get out from there, after you get out from the fast food, siguro 2 taon lang naman usually yung kontrata nun eh. No? If you would still want to continue to apply to other jobs, usually yung mga tumatanggap sa'yo pag galing ka ng Jollibee, galing ka ng Chowking, doble sweldo ka agad ang offer nila because they know that the training is really, really good. Then, kung ayaw mo, you can also go into business na kasi marunong ka na eh. Now, kung wala kang pera, hanap ka ng partner because you have the know-how, the partner has the money, and you can already go into a business. It doesn't even have to be food-related. But business principles naman more or less are the same. So,
Well,
yun. So, yeah. Franchisors, ang nakakainis kasi, maraming franchisor kuno na franchise, yung pala binibenta lang yung kanilang food cart, tapos bibigyan ka ng recipe, tapos sasabihin franchise ka na. Hindi yung totoong franchise. No? So for you to be able to find the best franchisor is what I would advise my mentees is, sige, merong in-offer na franchise sa'yo, sige, tanungin mo, hanapan mo ng kailan yung payback. They have to show you kailan yung payback. Dapat meron silang mga projections. Like Chowking would not just give you a franchise even if you have a lot of money. They would really have to make sure that yung location mo ay papatok dahil ayaw nilang masira yung pangalan nila na merong Chowking store na magsasara, di ba? Ganon. So, ang tingin ng magaling na franchisor sa isang franchisee ay partner sila na mahaba yung kanilang biyahe. Hindi yung iisahan lang nila minsanan, kakakwartahan, tapos na. It is a long-term partnership. Now, how do you know that? Go and ask the franchisees themselves. Halimbawa, if you want to find out about how good a franchisor Chowking is, which we did, we went and looked for other franchisees na friends namin and we asked them, is that a good franchise? What do you think? Should we do this? And sila mismo, if they are not happy with their franchisors, they would tell you na, ay nako, wag ka na dyan. Kukwartahan ka lang or something like that. No? So, we cannot generalize to say na franchisees are good or bad, but due diligence ang dapat na i-apply natin. Alamin natin based on the track record of the franchisor from their existing franchisee na hindi sila yung nag-recommend, kundi ikaw
Mhm.
mismo ang naghanap. So, I hope that helps.
So do your research first, okay? First is determine what you really want to do in the long term and then do your research first. So I'm actually inviting our viewers to okay to actually flood us with questions. Flood us with questions. Ito, Mommy N, may question ako, okay? So there are a lot of people who say that if you want to be in business, want to be an entrepreneur, you should have an MBA. Do you think that going and getting a degree at an MBA degree is good?
Umiiling si Coach George, oh.
Mabuti na lang hindi naka-spotlight sa'yo.
Umiiling siya. No? So yeah, oh well. Um, once upon a time, yan, may medyo matagal ang aking thing. Once upon a time, I would say that the best course would be to take up BAA from UP, which is the course that my two daughters, older daughters, took up, no, business administration and accountancy, because very flexible. Uh, Eventually, nakita ko na hindi naman pala kailangan, kasi sabi mo nga Miss Christine, no, na marami namang distance learning diyan. No? So my youngest son, Iko, is a gamer. He got into UP. He was 2 years a student of UP for 2 years. Tapos he dropped out because parang si Coach Ken, he loved playing games. No? He's a pro player for League of Legends. So, nag-drop out siya. And, siyempre, galit na galit ako kasi nasa aking isip is, kailangan makatapos ka ng 4 na taon na course. Ganun. Para meron kang fallback, no? Pero sabi niya, Mama, I've never wanted to be an employee. I'll never be an employee. I want to have my own business. Yun yung kanyang argument. Sabi ko, ay nako, kung saan ka nadapa, doon ka tumayo. Diyan sa games na yan, make sure you can make money out of it. And true enough, he got employed playing games. He was paid monthly 25,000 pesos just to play games. Parang okay din pala yan. No? But then it did not last long, and after a year, he said no more. Wala na. Na-dissolve yung company. But what he learned was he saw a business opportunity. He saw the need for streamers ng games to have video editors who are specialized in their craft. Hindi yung basta-basta video editor lang, yung talagang marunong sa games. So that was what he put up. And he put up a studio, tamang-tama, February, tapos nag-lockdown na nung March. But he is doing very well. He now has a lot of people working under him, has lots of clients, and he learned faster through yung mga courses na yan, through mentors, courses, joining yung mga masterminds, and ang bilis-bilis. And sabi ko nga, kung umupo siya, sabi niya, umupo ako ng 2 taon sa UP, wala akong natutunan. Hindi ako natutunan ganito kadami. Every day, at any time of the day, he would be watching videos, listening to podcasts, and learning. So, is MBA important for business success? Maybe not at this point. Is MBA important for promotion? Yes, I think so. If you are an employee and you would want to get promoted, then by all means go for MBA. But if you just want to succeed in business, I don't think that is necessary. Baka papatayin nila ako, no? But what I would advise though for college graduates, if you want to grow your business, the better program would be Master in Entrepreneurship. Ateneo Rockwell. That would be a better
Yes.
program kasi mas focused 'yon. That
Yeah.
was what I asked my daughter to take, and because of that she was able to help me grow the business even more from that program.
This one is the Master of Entrepreneurship. This one is in, it's in Rockwell. Because actually at some point, nag-ambisyon ako dyan kasi I took LMDP. It gives you some units so that if you want to pursue it into a full-grown master's program, you can. Kasi ganyan
Yeah.
lang yung ginawa ko to augment. Kasi at some point, I actually was getting bored being a creative professional and I wanted to do more. Okay, that's why napunta ako sa admin and personnel, and then sana nasa HR na.
Yeah. And Ateneo has the best entrepreneurship gurus in the Philippines. Sila Professor Andy and kamamatay lang ni Prof Morato, Ed Morato, and yon sila yung mga the best llamado na entrepreneurship gurus.
Well, at this point kasi well, kaming tatlo, George, Ken, and I, actually we are involved in coaching in Soshov. So there we have coaches and they ask us. I still actually recommend that, if you are graduating this year, it's still good to be employed for the first 2 years para lang you get the discipline and also eating some humble pie.
Yeah.
Especially the ones graduating from UP Ateneo Lasal. I graduated from UP and I had to eat mine. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, tumatango si George.
Yeah, that's very true.
Ah,
That's very true, especially if you want to go into business. All my kids had to work outside and prove their worth first before they joined the family business.
oh, mahirap na well, the toughest boss actually, my mom is my toughest boss. Okay, I worked for her. Okay, I still work for her as her assistant. Okay. Anyway, Ken, do we have questions from our audience?
Sa akin muna, ako muna. May question
Oh,
ako eh. May
oo.
question ako eh. So, sa akin, ang main question ko is, gaano ka-importante yung mindset? And ano yung mga mindsets na, mga strong beliefs na kailangan na makakatulong sa'yo sa pag-start or pag-grow ng sarili mong business?
Mindset. Mm-mm.
Mga pananaw lang, yeah.
Oo. Yeah, pananaw. Maraming iba eh. Iba kasi mag-isip yung Iba mag-isip yung empleyado sa negosyante. Like empleyado parang ay, baka risky, baka risky, baka risky. The business owners would look at the risk and say, how can I mitigate that risk? Parang nakaka-excite yung, risky ba? O sige, ano kayang pwede kong gawin para ma-mitigate yon? Ito. No? Kaya nga business calling, I would always go back to business calling because when you look at your life, there are many risky factors in the world, but you have been given gifts. You have some gifts, may mga superpowers ka na hindi common sa ibang mga tao. And because you have those superpowers, those are the superpowers you can use in your business so that you can excel, you can be above the rest. So yon, no? So yun yung isa, parang hindi mo puro risk, lahat naman ng bagay may risk. Tatawid ka lang nga, may risk. Paglabas mo ng bahay, kahit na nasa bahay ka, baka mabagsakan ka ng eroplano, hindi mo naman alam, may risk talaga. But if you keep on focusing on the risk, nothing will happen. So yun yung one of the mindset. Two, the most common I think is yung pera, no? Looking at ito yung number one na na cause ng mga cause of failure din. Ang dami kong number one na causes of failure, but those are really really very very important things to know about mindset when it comes to money. The money of the business and your money are two different things.
Mhm.
So just just last night lang I was talking to some of my mentees kasi halo-halo yung pera nila, yung sales nila, yung kanilang ano. Sabi ko hindi, hihiwalay mo yung pera. Kahit na ayaw mo maglista, ilagay mo sa isang drawer. So, eto puhunan ko 10,000 yan. Lahat ng benta nandyan. Lahat ng gastos diyan manggagaling. Tapos, swelduhan mo yung sarili mo. And you look at that as the only one na pwede mong galawin. So kaming mga business owners, we look at ourselves as employees as well of our business. Like my kids, when they eat in Chowking, pumipila sila. Hindi sila, nagbabayad sila, hindi sila basta kukuha na lang. But most of us here, sari-sari stores, they open and close because they think that the sari-sari store is their pantry. So, kukuha ng Maggi, kukuha ng ganyan, at the end, wala na. So, being able to separate the money of the business and treat the business as your boss and you yourself as an employee, that is a different mindset. No? Yon, that we have to have. Ano pa bang ibang mga mindset? Tungkol sa empleyado. Yung mga successful na business, they look at employees as partners. They look at them as, kung baga when they come and hire someone, when somebody applies, ang tinitingnan nila is, will this person be with me for a long, long time? No? Pero yung mga hindi successful na business, parang, ay nako, gastos lang yan. So much so that some people do not want to hire because they think that hiring someone is an expense. Totoo sa accounting expense yun. Pero as a business owner, the moment you're able to delegate your work to someone, it frees up your mind, it frees up your time to think of bigger and better things that you can do for your business. So if you want to grow your business, yun talaga, yung mindset na kung pwede mong i-delegate, i-delegate, hire ng tao. Bukod sa nakakatulong ka sa maraming tao, natutulungan mo rin yung sarili mo na you're able to relax your mind and not bother with the nitty-gritty of things.
Well,
Yun.
especially if you're the CEO, you have to, your
Right.
mind should be freed up because you need to be able to think of, diba? You need to review your vision and also think of have long-term plans, diba? Kasi pag masyadong preoccupied yung utak mo, kasi meron kasing mga small business owners, syempre they cannot really afford to have a lot of employees. So, nag-hands-on sila. But there's a stage kasi sa business na you can already hire and then so let those people work for you para ikaw naman you can you can set aside time to really plan for the future of your enterprise, 'di ba?
Okay, okay. So may question tayo coming from Edwin. Ang tanong niya is, what are the possible advantages and disadvantages of having business partners? For more or less binigay naman niya yung team startup, online business. Yeah.
Partnership is really, sa akin, if you can avoid it as much as possible. No? Dahil mahirap masakit ang ulo. No, masakit ang ulo sa partner. Yung ang mag-asawa, hindi na nga kayo magkasundo sa pagpapalakad ng business Yung pa kayang stranger, no? Hindi ko naman sinasabi na imposible. But a lot of things have to be prepared for. No? First of all, why do you need a partner? So you only get a partner if the partner has something that you cannot get elsewhere. For example, you need capital at hindi ka makautang, may pera, okay. But that person also has to need you for something that he does not have. Kasi if he has what you have, then eventually you will find yourself kicked out of the partnership. Dahil kaya niyang i-replace ka. So, dapat ganon. Yung parang mutually exclusive. Kung yung meron ka, wala siya, and vice versa. That would be one thing that I would watch out for. Next, dapat maayos yung usapan sa umpisa pa lang, no? Hindi pwedeng 50-50. The worst thing you can get into is a 50-50 partnership. Because when you have a deadlock in decision making, patay ka. So if you need a partner, make sure you are the majority. Dahil kung siya ang majority, that would be difficult. No? So dapat majority ka so that at maayos yung inyong usapan. Meron kayong written agreement. Written, preferably notarized, preferably made by a lawyer, na ano yung role mo doon, ano yung role niya, what is expected from you, what's expected from him, and then how do you divide your profit? When do you divide your profit? And most especially yung exit clause na let's say ayoko nang makipag-partner sa iyo. So what happens? Those things have to be explicitly stated there. No, let's say if I die, would you want my husband to be your partner if my husband is not able to produce what I can produce? For example, marunong ako magluto, ginawa mo akong partner. Eh kung namatay ako, partner pa ba kayo ng asawa ko? O kailangan ko nang ibenta sa iyo yung share? Dapat pinag-uusapan na yon. As early as the beginning, bago pa kayo magpirmahan, bago pa kayo mag-umpisa. So yon, no? So whether it's a startup online business or whether it's a brick and mortar store, whatever kind of business, as long as it's a partnership, we got hurt with so many partnerships that we parang wag na. Because at the end, lalo na ang pinakamasakit, alam mo, relatives and friend. You end up enemies. Ang relatives yung masakit is pati yung anak mo tsaka yung anak niya magiging enemies. The enmity will go for generations. Kaya I would really advise against doing that. No? So pero sometimes hindi unavoidable. So go ahead. Basta everything is in writing including the exit clause. So I hope that helped, Edwin.
Yeah, that's a good mommy, and those are good points actually kasi well, of course inevitable yun eh kasi I've worked with so many companies nagkakaproblema. Okay, these are like medium-sized companies, partnership siya. So minsan meron palang ailment yung isang partner. So inatake sa puso. So suddenly, okay, for like maybe like 3 months, paralyze yung operations kasi I mean yung decision making sa operations kasi kasi hindi alam kung anong gagawin, kung should we have the wife come in, 'di ba, and then make decisions for that or what. So it's important to have that discussion, 'di ba? Para malinaw ang ating arrangement. However, it's also good to have naman partnership kasi if you have the same if you are you have the same goals and then you're thinking of, coming out with some same service or product, then that's something that naman can make your endeavor lighter. Ikaw,
Yes.
George, what do you think?
Ako siguro just to backtrack a bit, yung lahat ng sinabi ni Mami N, especially dun sa advice niya on setting up your business and all that. Alam mo, because we're here at HR Shouts and Whispers, and I think this is going to be perfect for all HR managers who have people who will be getting their early retirement. So isa yan, very good advice that you can share to people through this episode, no, yung mga mag-a-avail ng early retirement. Ano pwede yung gawin sa pera nyo? Diba? Ang dami dyan yung mga nagpapakompute, diba? Early retirement. O kaya yung 7641, RA 7641 na age 60 plus, diba? So, anong pwede mong gawing advice, no? What to do with their money? Do I go into a franchise? Do I go into setting up my own? And this is something na marami kayong matututunan from the HR community. So much value has been given ni Mami N ngayong gabi, no? Ako, kung kunyari nakinig ako nito tapos bukas may lumapit sa akin na nagpa-compute na, oy George, kukunin ko na yung early retirement ko. Oy, pwede. Okay, tapos panoorin mo tong episode na to kasi para ma-enlighten ka. And kasi nga, yun nga like two things, no, yung sinabi ni Mami N about MBA. Kanina umiiling ako kasi ako, I would rather, sabi ko nga, go through the eye of the needle and really experience it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if for example, you want to scale your business and it's already replicable, pwede ka na mag-MBA niya. Pwede ka na mag-MBA kasi mare-replicate mo na yung business. Gusto mong palakihin, gusto mong mag-expand, kumikita ka na. Sure, go into MBA. Pero for starters, ano muna yan? Aralin mo muna. Go through the needle. So yun lang.
So, ang ano kasi, the reason we also thought of this episode was, well, usap-usapin naman ngayon yan, okay? There are employees, okay, who will be retrenched and they will be getting separation pay. And the worst thing that you will do with your separation pay is to buy a car. Kasi usually ganun yung ginagawa nila eh. I'll buy a car or pambayad utang yung separation pay. So this one, okay, can give them some option, okay, na, oh, I can set aside an amount and then that can be my capital for a business. Okay, so yon, diba? That's to, ano, but kasi usually kasi, I also talk to a lot of people kasi people know that I shifted careers and then they talk to me, should I go into HR? And then if I'm already an HR director, should I become a businesswoman or an entrepreneur? And then ngayon, ito to, kasi being an HR, employee ka pa rin. This one, if you really if you really hate your boss and you really want to be powerful in the organization and have your way, then set up your own company. So that's what I say. And yun nga lang, you will have to go through your birth pains, okay, in the business. Kasi capital mo, and then you will have to set up your company. Okay, but the plus side is, you're really going to be powerful kasi you're the point, ikaw na, you own the business na. Oh, if that's what your goal is and that's what you want. But, you know, there are people who are happy being employees, then we respect them. Diba? So this one, Ken, itong mga usapin na to, do you, if like at your, kasi ikaw yung ano dito, pinaka-millennial. So what do you think are good businesses for millennials? Because of, not because of capital, but because it suits their lifestyle.
Sa akin, ang daming pwedeng i-buy and sell eh. Ngayon, lalo ngayon. Um, make use na nasa bahay ka ngayon. So you could start with like looking for products na madali ibenta sa target market mo. Bakit specific ko sinabi yung target market? 'Di ba? Ang dami kasi kung ano-anong product kinukuha, hindi naman nila mabenta kasi hindi nila alam kung saan nila ibebenta. 'Di ba? So it takes time to also research, 'di ba? So siguro sa akin ang mga tinitingnan ko pa rin ay yung mga bagay na madaling i-deliver. Karamihan ng tao ngayon nasa bahay eh. So kung meron kang pwedeng isipin na kaya mo naman iluto na talagang magiging specific, na ikaw lang yung makapagluto sa village mo, you could start there. 'Di ba? Kasi passion mo na yun eh. Hindi ka naman mahihirapan gawin yun eh. 'Di ba? Pero at the same time, you also think of ways na hindi lang sila bibili sa bahay mo, but you deliver. So ngayon, hindi lang dun sa certain area mo ikaw nakakapag-cater, pati dun sa mga neighboring areas, kaya mo rin mag-deliver. So, ang lawak ka agad, di ba? So, ang daming opportunities ngayon. Akala ng ibang tao, nung nag-pandemic, nabawasan ng opportunities. Actually, hindi eh. You just have to open your eyes wider and actually, there are lots of opportunities still out there. Baka lang kasi, hindi ka pa na enlighten sa mga yon. Kaya yung mga tao ngayon, karamihan ng mga friends ko, most of the people right now are looking at TikTok, are looking at YouTube for the next trend that's coming. So kung sabi nga ni Mami Ann kanina, kuwari, milk tea, that was a trend. Meron pa rin nagmi-milk tea ngayon, pero hindi na siya kasing yung tipong pipila ka na sobrang haba para doon. Diba? Meron pa rin, pero hindi na siya ganun ka-solid. So, ang tinitingnan ko ngayon, parang what would be something that people would need in the years to come na hindi magsasawa yung tao at repeat lang sila ng repeat bibili. So, siguro as a millennial, senial, hindi ko na alam eh, that would be how I think. What's next? Yun ako palagi eh. So, and I'm always thinking na parang what may be hype right now won't be hype tomorrow.
Well,
Yeah.
things
So,
are changing.
Adaptive ako. Kung may business na tingin ko na itong ginagawa ko ngayon, hindi to umuunti na yung yung push. teka lang, ano pa iba kong kayang gawin na mas malaki yung push ngayon in the next days to come? Doon ako mag-focus. Yeah.
Yeah, so be adaptive, okay? And then ito
Adaptive
yung
ako.
sinasabi kasi nila, when you plan something, you have to be able to spell it out from beginning to the end. Kasi para alam mo kung kailan, ang tawag kasi nila ngayon is pivot eh, when you can pivot, okay? So parang ano yan, yung pivot is you have your exit plan, okay, leading to another. Okay, hindi yan yung the end of your entrepreneurial endeavor. Then, I'll go back to you. You have a framework to present, okay, to our viewers, okay, how to really start a business. So, may we ask you to present it?
Oh, thank you. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Hope you see it. Do you see it now?
One moment. Yes, I do.
Yeah, the triangle. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the first thing, yun yung sinasabi ni Coach Ken, no? I totally agree with him. Sabi nga, dapat ano yung talagang saan ka talaga magaling. And that was what I was talking about then kanina, yung business calling. That should be the foundation. No? Ang number one mistake ng mga tao is they go into business looking for the product. Hindi una ang product, hindi milk tea ang dapat na mauna. Dapat pag-aralan yung buhay natin, merong mga clues dyan eh, kung saan tayo magaling, ano yung mga superpowers natin. Kasi yung mga superpowers natin, each one of us has it. No? So meron tayong superpowers na kapag ginamit natin, tulad ko, it is my teaching because I really have been yun talaga ang nilagay na superpower sa akin sa pagtuturo. And kaya kahit na anong pasukan ko, yun yung talagang pinanghahawakan ko. That makes my businesses grow. Now, for you, there is also a superpower at least. So once you know that, then you can look at ano yung long-term na business. That's how I teach my mentees. No, ito yung business calling, ito yung pwede mong gawin 10 to 20 years from now. But how do you start? Kasi hindi patalon-talon. Like what I did, patalon-talon. Ang hirap ng road na yon kasi you do this and then it does not work. You do that. Kung saan-saan ka umiikot. The easier way is once you know your business calling, you look at the product that you want to focus on, but then you also look at yung target market, no? So Coach Ken mentioned that as well. Sabi yung target market mo, ano yung hinahanap nila? Ano yung minimum viable customer segment na pwede mong iserve? And then, sino yung mga competitors mo doon? That's why you look at those three things. And dyan sa tatlong yan, you identify muna isang product, tapos pag hindi siya masyadong nag-work, yun yung the word that you use, pivot, 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 until you finally get it right. But as you are pivoting, what you are really doing is you are moving closer to your long-term business calling. Meron ka ng path doon. No? It is only then, no, that you worry about capital. It's so funny that most of us say, hey, ayoko magnegosyo, wala akong kapital. Teka muna, ano bang negosyo? For all you know, you don't need capital, just like what I did. I never started with a single centavo. I was able to start businesses. Hindi capital ang problema. Ang problema is your business idea. Once you have a good business idea and you have a customer segment who will buy whatever it is that you're trying to sell because you are better than the competitors that are now existing in the market, and you have the capacity to continuously be better than them, then you have a winning business. And that is when you start to plan and then look for the capital if you don't have it. For all you know, you just have it in your backyard, no? And that's when you work on your permits. Some people get bogged down also. Ano bang permit ang kailangan ko? Ano ba? Do I go to FDA? Do I go? Huwag niyo munang isipin yan. Product muna. Huwag muna. Business calling muna. No? Huwag masyadong magmamadali. It is only when you have all of these things figured out that you start your business. So this, I would say, is what I call the business builder's roadmap. Don't put the cart before the horse, or else you'll really get into trouble just like I did. And because I got into so much trouble, I don't want this to happen to you. So please let me help you by sharing this and adapting this, or ask me how I can help you do it using the framework. Yan. So
So start with
Like,
the
yeah,
calling.
yeah. Start with the calling. Okay? I have a worksheet for that. And then tapos, yon. Think of the product and the customers that you want to serve. Customers, ano yung kailangan nila? Teka muna, itong product, sino pa ba ang ibang customer? So, pabalik-balik dyan. No? Tapos, sino ba yung mga nandyan na, no, na competitor? Yon.
So
So,
minimum viable product. Okay, so this is the product that you have. Okay, this is like ito yung startup product mo. Okay, and then
yes.
also they can actually also determine kung ano yung minimum. Okay, minimum profit. Okay, or minimum. I think it's what the sales. Okay, they can start trying to think about that.
Let me give you an example. I have now a mentee who has problems with her skin. No,
Mm-hmm.
yung skin niya, she has problematic skin, and skin products have always been a problem to her. No, ngayon, yung tanging binibilhan niya ng sabon, nag-migrate na, wala na. So wala siyang mabilhang sabon. So she thought of making soap, pero sabi niya gusto ko shampoo line, etc., etc. So when we looked at her life, we examined her life, kung ano, I will not go into details, but we were able to identify na what she wants to create is yung mga stores na catering to people with sensitive skin. Yung
I
mga
see.
cosmetic lines na from head to foot na kailangan organic, kailangan unscented, yung mga ganon, yung mga all natural products. So yun yung kanyang long-term business calling, to serve these people. But then ano yung kanyang minimum viable product? She's now starting to develop soap. Meron
Mm-hmm.
siyang 4 na variants ng soap. May oatmeal, may rosemary. Yung talagang, ang ginagamit niyang oil ay yung tunay na oil, hindi yung fake na oil. I just learned from her that there are 2 kinds pala, na essential oils and natural oils, something. I'm not very sure about the terminology, but there are 2 different kinds of oils. Pag ginamit yung synthetic, that will irritate your skin. So that's what she's trying to do now. That's her minimum viable product. Now, minimum viable customers are, who are the people that who will buy? Siguro mga 100 people who will keep your business afloat kung ganyan ng ganyan ka lang. Ang hinahanap natin is yung repeat order. Kasi pag
Yes.
minsan lang bumili sa'yo, hindi na umorder, hindi sila counted. So we are looking at your minimum viable customers, people who will order again and again. And once you will have established that, mabubuhay na yung negosyo mo, that's when you apply for a permit and you go into the different lines that you want to move towards na your dream of growing your business. Pero doon muna mag-uumpisa sa isa, just to validate. So
Yes.
yun.
So if you can see Mommy Ann's framework, okay, this one, okay, this is actually for sustainability kasi it starts with something that you really love to do, okay, and then what comes natural for you. Kasi yung iba pinipilit yung sarili nila, like they would go into food, and then they have to go to go back to school. I mean, go to culinary school, etc. So masyado ding, kasi for me, I also thought about that, since I like to cook. Okay, I love cooking. Okay, but for me to be able to get the technical skills, parang doon pa lang, okay, magastos na, and I would just be, it's not going to be, it doesn't make sense for me na to be able to go into that business. So I just stuck with, hindi naman siya stuck, but I just like focused on what skills I have already and what I like to do. I guess you know what I like to do. I like to talk. So I'm just going to I'm just going to talk. It's just like a simple analogy, okay? Pero yun. So anyway, do we have follow-up questions, Ken?
Stop ko na yung aking share.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Steady pa naman. Wala pa naman, Chris. Yeah.
So moving forward, Mommy, and so this time it's quite, yun na nga sinasabi nila, it's quite unpredictable. And if there are people who will venture out into entrepreneurship, okay, so aside from that, okay, business calling and that framework, what are your advice to them?
na
Additional advice. Oo.
yeah. So, there are actually yun, yung number one na pitfall is yung talagang gaya-gaya and kung kani-kanino nakikinig. So, ang advice ko talaga is really look for your business calling, identify it. Tapos, do not just take any advice from anybody, no? Make sure that the people you are listening to have been there. Like, I will not take any speaking advice from anybody else if not from you kasi
Mhm.
andiyan ka na, no? So, alam nga naman kung sino-sinong tatanungin ko. So, get advice from people who have been there, people who have failed, people who have um, fallen into the holes and gotten up again. And alam nila kung nasaan yung mga potholes at alam nila kung saan kayo idadaan para mas madaling mag-succeed. So, other than that, yeah, don't worry about capital. Don't let capital be a hindrance to you dahil as you saw kanina sa aking framework, capital will come the moment na you have a winning idea. Etong the lady that I was talking to you about, yung ang kanyang bumebenta na siya ng sabon and all she spent for was 5,000 pesos. So, pinoproblema ba yung 5,000 na capital? If you have internet access, I'm sure, and you can watch us today, I'm sure you have 5,000. Hindi ba? Kaya, don't make capital a huge monster. Now, when she will have gotten her permit, then she will already see na okay okay na to, no, kasi we will lead them in doing the projections as well. So makikita niya kung ano yung kailangan niyang capital, kung kailangan niya bang utangin to, kasi mas madaling uutangin na lang kesa yung kukuha ka ng partner na hindi mo makakasundo later on. No, sometimes you can do payback analysis and see if you can pay it back, when can you pay, yung i-compute mo yung cash flow, mafo-forecast mo, and you'll be able to see na ito pala ang problema ng capital. Hindi pala ganun kalaki. So anything else, parang yun lang. Those are the only things that come to mind.
Yeah, so this is something that you plan for kasi, and this is like really, this Holy Week, what they can do aside from, if like their companies, okay, have that plan of really folding up, okay, during this Holy Week, what they can do is do some reflection and then see, okay, if this is something, if this is a good option for them. So try to look, okay, try to ask yourself, what is your superpower?
Yeah.
And then how can you convert that into a business? So, Ken, what is your superpower?
Superpower ko is more of siguro inception. Pansin ko, ay, parang ano eh, you have to take your time to actually ask yourself these things eh.
Mhm.
Oh, when you actually spend more time to it, dun mo mas nakikita, teka lang, ano nga ba yung talagang strengths ko? Kasi minsan yung akala mong yun na yun,
Mhm.
superpower mo, minsan, marami mo pala akong ibang skills eh. So, sa akin siguro, ang superpower ko is adapting to changes. Yun, siguro sa akin.
And
Um,
kabugian mo.
Hindi naman, ano lang, nandun tayo sa katamtaman. Oo.
Katamtaman lang.
Nandun lang tayo sa katamtaman. Ano lang, siguro, I enjoy watching people and learning from people. So, hindi naman nila kailangan sabihin yung mga bagay. Parang, just watching people, you get to see their personalities, their behavior. Siguro, isa yun sa mga superpower ko. I've gotten to focus on profiling people and watching people from afar to the point that you get to understand their personalities din kaagad. Yeah.
How about George?
Wala,
George?
na-DC si George. Na-DC.
Na-busy na. Okay.
Oo.
Oo, yan si Coach George. Di
Oh,
ba? Ayaw,
Coach George is always on the go.
Coach
On the
George.
go.
Oh, yeah, the power of flight.
Yeah.
So,
Daming calls yun. Oh.
so anyhow, okay, so Mommy Ed. So, okay, for ano lang, so for Holy Week, okay, so we actually, learned a lot from you. And then suddenly, okay, ako kasi, I'm one of those people that also I'm actually afraid to fail, okay? But about failure, what can you say about failure?
What can I say about failure? Ay, ito yung favorite na ano, hindi ba? favorite na saying sa NLP, there's no mistake, only feedback. There's no failure, only feedback. So when I heard that, sabi ko, totoo yan, wala naman eh. When I go back to, I'm gonna be 66 in a few weeks, and 66 years of life, I would say, wala talagang failure eh. Kasi lahat ng nangyari sa akin, kahit na gaano kasakit, kahit na gaano ko iniyakan, it is the lessons. Parang kumbaga, if I had to live my life all over again, I would still go through those because the lessons are talagang gold. No? And those lessons are what make me who I am now. And I am now able to use those lessons to teach others so that they will also learn from the tears that I shed. So, wala. Go ahead. No failures, only feedback. The only failure, I think, is if you did not learn from that mistake and you keep committing it again and again. No? Pero kung nag-learn ka naman, gold yon.
And
Yeah.
we are honored that we are learning from you this evening.
Thank you.
Very honored, yeah.
Ayan. So anyway, our time flew once again. Okay, so it was such a fruitful discussion, Mommy Ann, and thank you. Okay, for saying yes to our invitation. So any upcoming webinars?
We are actually cooking something this for the month of April, but I don't have the exact dates yet, no? But what I'd like to do is for those who are interested to start their businesses, why don't you join us sa aming group, no? You can actually reach me. By the way, for those who came in and listen to us today, meron akong listahan, no? Meron mga tao mahilig kasi sa listahan. Ano bang business ang patok na business ngayon? No, I have a list of 366 businesses. O pumili na kayo kung kailan ninyo gusto, alin doon ang gusto ninyo. No, but then I would just give the caveat that you don't really choose the business from a list. You really need to look at your calling first. But if you want to know the 366 businesses that you can go into this year, what I'd like to invite you to do is to look for my page, no, yung Your Mommy Negosyo.
Yun. Look for Your Mommy Negosyo.
Your
Okay, you
Mommy
can.
Negosyo sa Facebook. Hanapin nyo, kahit na Mommy Negosyo lang yung i-type ninyo eh, you will land on my page and you will see the instructions on how you can download the 366 businesses, list of businesses for free.
And of course, Mommy N, okay, you can always like post your question or send your question on that
Yes,
page, okay,
on
for
that page as well, yes.
Yun. So, wow. So, that was it. Okay. So, thank you, Mommy N. And I actually learned a lot from you.
Thank
And
you,
our
thank you.
our viewers, tahimik sila. So, which means they're really taking down notes. So, anyway, ikaw, Ken, what should we expect from you this week?
This week, the usual. I'm currently, sa mga, siguro, may mga nagtatanong sa mga friends ko kung ano daw ginagawa ko recently, no? So, for the past few weeks, nag-full-time ako ulit sa cryptocurrency. I've been fully trading and investing in the cryptocurrency markets. So, I've been teaching a lot of friends and family members then to actually how to grow their investments sa crypto, no? And pero tuloy pa rin ako. I'm still passionate with persuasion and negotiation. So I think I'm planning to do a persuasion and negotiation workshop sometime soon. Siguro around May. Siguro let's see.
Mhm.
I'd love to listen then for like if you have any questions or some things that you want to learn, let me know so that I could put that in the workshop. Pero siguro I'd love to cover not the basic stuff. So I'd also love to cover things like manipulation so that you could protect yourself from it. Pero also if you want to use it, pwede rin. Wala
Mhm.
nagtuturo eh.
Basta
Wala
ethical
nagtuturo.
lang.
Ethical, wala nagtuturo eh. So parang it's always been fun to see people like
Oh.
Ang dami. So, ako lang, it's, I'll go with what's fun for me. And I'll probably update our friends here pag meron na. Pero one thing's for sure, focus on learning and focus on what's next. Yun lang palagi kong sasabihin. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd love to attend your persuasion workshop or your manipulation workshop.
Tingnan.
Yung mga ganyang evil stuff. Evil stuff.
Classmate tayo. Classmate tayo.
It's fun. It's fun to learn. I mean, it can be information, but in how I see things, these are tools. These are tools to actually you could use for self-defense or for offense. It's really up to you. My goal as a coach or as a trainer is to create the knife. It's really up to you if you want to use it for cooking or for other stuff. That's your call. Yeah.
Oh, well, good to know. Okay, and
Yeah.
we'll be expecting that. And yes, and for HA Shouts, okay, so we are actually uploading our past episodes, including this episode. We will upload on our YouTube channel because we want to reach out to HRs, okay, from all over the Philippines. So yun yung ating advocacy. We want to actually help upskill HR professionals all over the Philippines, okay, to the best practices. Kasi now is the time, okay, to equip yourself, okay, upskill, okay, and then be connected with a lot of experts. Okay, so our YouTube channel, okay, so we're pointing at there. If you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe. And then you can watch the past episodes and you can send an email to hrshoutsandwhispers@gmail.com so that we can also certify you for completing, okay, watching the webinar. So it's a certificate of completion, which you can also put on your resume. So that is what we can do, and it's part of our advocacy. And anyhow, you can get in touch with me through PM if you have questions on HR concerns, okay, lalo na ngayon, and then on payroll. Okay, so you can get in touch with me. And of course, for your communication workshops, okay, ito yung mga orgcom. This is different from Ken's communication, brand of communication. This is organizational communication. You can also get in touch with me. But anyhow, we've had a fruitful discussion, and we will, Mommy Ann will we will be connected with each other, and I hope our viewers will also connect to Mommy Ann for her upcoming webinars. Okay, so for now, it's a temporary goodbye. Bye-bye.